your backgrounds have nothing to do in this. You were in banking and you were in sales.
Marketing, sales.
So, and respectfully, how the fuck does one say, well, you know,
I want to go into VR.
VR. I mean, yes.
You know, I think that was the reason possibly we were successful. We were not biased to gaming because gamers are very passionate people, and you can tell by sitting with any other gamer. Like for example, people who play Call of Duty are much different than people who play Fortnite. Are much different than people who play CS:GO. They're in somewhat like it's like having a Manchester United fan with a Chelsea fan. You're never going to see eye to eye. For us, it wasn't the case. It was like, how can we grow the industry? We're unbiased to any of the games. We just want to evolve the industry and the way we see fit. And for us, for myself, I was a rugby player, a varsity rugby player in university for 6 years, and I was always an athlete growing up. Even my brother was a professional
and an entrepreneur athlete
as well,
right?
Yeah. My first business was at the age of 15. So. And it shows in my personality. Why? Because even at the party, I'm always ready to go. You know, like if I have an idea, and he was a person willing to listen, and I was like, you know what? Don't listen. Let me show you.
So the fact that he was willing to come with you to the car, probably you guys were drunk off your faces in the middle of a party, shows, okay, this guy's fucking interested in what I have
It's
to
like
say.
different ambitions, man. You always had that kind of entrepreneur that want to do something, want to create, and then it was more, okay, I'm expected to go into the family business and this is my route, but you always had that like fuck
so
that.
I am expected to go into the family business and do that, but I always knew deep down this was not going to be, this wasn't enough for me. And I did try to go into some businesses here and there, and since I was really young, so I've been proposing ideas to my dad since I was like 14, 15. My first thing was a hot dog stand, and then like many different things. So no, I always knew there was something. But I remember at one point when I was still working at the bank, I was like, okay, let it come to me. Mm-hmm. Let me just sit and not go look for it. Let it come to me. And that's when
it came.
It literally came.
In a briefcase in the parking lot of a party.
We didn't know it at the time because, as I said, so it took like me to go to New York and then back to then get into it. And even after we got into it, after I was back, it took so much time to firstly look into who we are as people. If we really want to go into this partnership together, if there is potential for trust, and from there, like whatever business, if we were opening up a restaurant or if we were doing this very advanced tech company, the fundamentals stay the same. And from that, we start building up layers after layer after layer. Even with VR, like you said, we're not technical people. Me and Karim, like our office, like I still like to print out my papers, print out my emails, and like the team there, like they're like, guys, we're a tech company.
Yeah.
Like, don't
you
tell
guys
anyone.
Look like you're from the 60s.
Exactly, yeah. We're still quite old, and like Karim said, I think this is where we got successful, or where we're still maintaining that, because
we're
agile. We have an outside look on things. And at the end of the day, business is business. So once whatever the business is, firstly it's the fundamentals, then it's your moves and how much of a risk taker you are, and how you mitigate problems, how you solve and look into problems, because there are always many in any business you do. So yeah, that's basically how it all started, and yeah.
No, but what I really respect about you guys, obviously it's still early stages, but you guys are on an upward trajectory, but you're still authentic. You're yourselves. You haven't tried to change. You told me something with the business where the whole culture is you can come in at whatever time you want as long as the work gets done.
Don't say that on TV.
Sorry, no.
No one comes to work tomorrow.
Come in at 7 a.m.
7 a.m.
But no, you get the work done, and that's you should balance. You should have a healthy lifestyle outside, because you guys have said it to me before. Yourselves come first, and then your company, which is not what entrepreneurs back in the day used to say.
Even up until now.
Yeah,
Even up until
there
now.
are the-
Yeah. It's about your soul. It's about you. It's about how you're waking up in the morning. How are you feeling? So obviously it's you first, and then the company. Because when you put yourself first, then the company comes on top of it. And we pass that on to our team because basically we're all in the pursuit of happiness, health, peace, wealth. We're all in the pursuit of this. The same things. It's about our approach. And today, even in the States, that's their approach today. When you go to Google, Apple, and all these places now, they have a much more radical view on things, but it's basically the same approach.
Company culture.
It's the company culture, exactly. And we've worked very hardly on the company culture, and we work really hard on ourselves. We sit down a lot of the times and just talk about us, talk about how we feel, talk about how we can be better, where we can, how we want to tackle something. It is more emotional, it is more critical thinking than anything else. Then, after you master this, and we still haven't mastered it, it's a journey, right? It's something that you keep getting better at. And once you start are aware of these things, then the company, everything comes so much easier to you and you to it also. You start dealing with opportunities in a much lighter way. Okay, let's do it. Let's go ahead. Let's do this game. Let us do this game in the way that, even though it's maybe not widely accepted, let's just dabble into
it in our way, kind of. Yeah.
Let's
not go with the norm. We do it with how we want to do it.
100%. Like, you know that saying, the wear the outfit, don't let the outfit wear you.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like that. And though, if you have a very healthy lifestyle and you're convinced with the way you're living and your lifestyle and your philosophy, your philanthropy in life, that will be reflected by default on the company. If you split the two, if you make your business a business and then you make your personal life a personal life, there will always be that segregation.
Disconnect.
100%.
We don't look for that disconnect. We are very connected with the company. If we feel good, the company runs good. If we don't feel good, the company suffers. And we make it very natural and very organic. That way, our flexibility and adaptability to projects, to our ambitions, to our vision, our goals are very clear. And بالعربي بوقتهم, it comes to us.
Naturally, it comes naturally.
It comes. Even though we have this very proactive initiative, somehow when you just accept the way you are and you let that free flow into the company, they happen much more organically. You don't force them, because it's not always good to keep the pedal on the metal. You have to think about yourself. You have to think, am I mentally well? I might be the richest person in Lebanon and the most successful gaming company, but am I mentally well?
100%. You're touching on something very important.
It's much easier said than done.
Once
you have so many responsibilities, and for example, Karim says, listen, I'm off. I'm going to go offline for a few days. I'm not feeling well. I'm not feeling it. In any other, even startup, even company, no, that wouldn't be acceptable. It wouldn't be acceptable for him. It wouldn't be acceptable for anyone, for the team, for anything, because no, we have those responsibilities. But when you put that first again, it really changes your perception on life. It's on life and on your business, on who your surroundings are, on who you hire, on the decisions you make, on everything. So that's what we're trying to master before anything.
Even in the West right now, right before coronavirus, there are so many companies that are being created and that are starting to become popular, which basically their job is to go and improve the cultures at other companies. I remember there was one called Culture Amp, they literally
it became very popular.
Yeah, they study the cultures of other companies, and every company they feel has a bad culture, they start emailing them and giving them courses about how to improve culture, because
this is when EQ became a lot more important than IQ, and this is what Toufic meant by emotional. If we take emotional decisions, they're not based on, for example, if I'm sad, I'm not going to be, I'm going to hug the first person that comes into my face and let it all out. No, I'm just going to be very emotionally intelligent that I'm sad and I cannot take a meeting today that's very important to me. This is what I mean by emotional intelligence. A long time ago, it was based on IQ. Are you skillful? Are you talented? You got that grit.
Work.
But you get to a point where would you rather have a team member that's willing to throw you under the bus, or a team member that will be very supportive of how you're feeling and how you're thinking?
Of course, the second option.
And this is where the what you're talking about
I'm
came
talking
into
about
play.
like that whole concept of having a good culture, and obviously you guys are based in Lebanon, and right now, not just in mainly in Lebanon, like companies still need time to adapt to this culture, and in general, what you guys are doing is a bit hard to explain to the average Lebanese person, to Lebanese culture. And how has it been even up until now? How has Lebanese society's reaction in general been to what you guys are doing?
Well, there was multiple fringes.
Yeah.
It depends on. In the beginning, it was the community was much different to the way they're reacting with us now.
My understanding of what you guys do and of what Robocom is it's like a VR park. Am I right? So you have all the machines that you enter, you put on the helmets, you put on the gear, and you're transformed into these kind of crazy worlds. Or am I completely fucking destroying it? Maybe,
No, it's a part of what we do. It's
Okay,
not
good.
what we do specifically,
Okay.
but it is the platform for our products. So if I were to give you like a quick overbrief of what Robocom does as a company, we are a turnkey solution for location-based games. Okay, when I say location-based, they're usually VR and usually simulation-based. Our forte is VR and simulations. When I say simulations, like racing simulations, flight simulations, escape rooms, mechanical escape rooms, of course. Anything that has to do with mechanics and game development.
Just to simplify what Karim was
Yeah.
saying, we are the next generation of arcades.
Okay.
Right? So today you have a stagnant market in arcades. The machines haven't changed. We still play the same games we always have. Now with simulator-based VR games, as well as IPs that we have, this is where the whole edge comes from. But this is not the only thing that Robocom does, and it will never be the only thing that we do in anything, because we always want to be agile. We always want to be in doing the next thing, which brought us today to esports also. Esports is our biggest our biggest hope right now. It's to get into this market with a very strong hand, whereas in the region it's still developing very slowly.
Virtual esports or just
Esports in
general?
Esports, like there aren't the facilities in the Middle East, from what I've understood, like when it comes to esport academies, training people to get into professional esports. Like it's looked down on in
But the
many
talent
families.
is there.
The family,
Yeah.
the talent is there. But like from what I understood, like you guys are largely based in Dubai. You have other arcades that you were based in New York as well.
Istanbul.
But New York, Istanbul. But what fascinates me is like Dubai is one of the places where, like, one of the countries that's really pioneering in virtual reality in general, not just with gaming. And like, do you guys happen to know why, or can you guess? Because I'm like,
Well,
why Dubai?
It's a progressive market, you
Yeah.
know. In general, I would say I'm very fond of Dubai or Emirates in general because it is a country of dreamers, and you can't really say that about a lot of cities in the world. Even New York. New York is New York, you know, the land of opportunities. USA. It's not the same USA it was in the 90s or even the 2000s, but Dubai, they progress very fast. They always, and you know, they have this like cliche or stereotypical vibe of, oh, we want the biggest,
Tallest.
the largest, the tallest. You
they
know,
have a lot of investors as
Burj
well.
Khalifa is
of
a
course,
perfect
of course.
example, yeah.
But the taxation plays a big role. But in general, they allow thinkers or dreamers to do it. You know, do you have an
Proactively
idea?
also, proactively, they really
Definitely.
they're here to support anything innovative. If it were blockchain, if it, yani, they're really on the forefront in the region, at least, of technology at the end of the day. And
They put money in. They put money in.
They put everything in, not just money, talent, people. They get technologies from the outside world, and yeah, they're proactively seeking to be the pioneers in the region.
And entertainment
which
in
includes
general.
virtual reality.
Yeah.
It includes entertainment. It includes everything.
Concerts, for example, like even the expo. Not a lot of people know what the expo is. Dubai made sure you know what the expo is just because it was happening in Dubai. Like no one knows, for example, the Eiffel Tower was manufactured or constructed because of the expo that happened in the 1800s in Paris. You know, no one knows that, but Dubai makes you they will identify what they've done, therefore makes them these thinkers, doers, or dreamers. You know, you want to build the tallest building? Oh yeah, let's do it. Open budget, blah blah blah. So it was a market for us to progress, but at the same time, we're very patriotic about Lebanon. Me and Toufic, we both grew up here, so we've traveled a lot, and we can confidently say there's no place like home. You know, we have a lot of talent in Beirut, a lot of raw talent. And
that's why your office is here, right? Your headquarters
definitely.
is here, yeah.
And we're actually the largest gaming company in the Middle East, and we're still Beirut based, against everyone's better opinion. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Especially with the economic crisis that's going on right now. It's
Definitely.
a bit tough to be operating any form of business over here.
Definitely. But I think gaming in general, are you guys gamers by any chance?
I used to be when I was younger.
I used to be.
I'm like the
used to be.
entry level gamer, if you
Yeah.
want, like the entry level.
Man, I used to get so into it, like I would spend hours. And I stopped because I used to spend too much time on it.
I used to be
Like Call of Duty Zombies,
Call of
we spoke
Duty,
about that. Like there's a few top
FIFA.
ones that like are
PlayStation 3. I was
FIFA.
like PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3. PlayStation 4 came out during my last year of school. Then I went to university. I stopped playing games. How
Well, now the 5 came out, so
Yeah, we'll get back into it.
you can jump one.
were you guys gamers?
Honestly, no.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. Your background is not
Yeah.
technical.
Yeah.
Like you aren't techies at all. And
Not,
even the way you
not
met,
techies, not gamers.
not gamers, nothing.
When we both went to
I
the
really
same
got
university.
into gaming, honestly, when COVID hit. I started playing Call of Duty. And the best thing about this is, like you were saying, you spend hours on it. But the
Yeah.
difference between us is that I can write this down as R&D. You can't.
I can't.
I'm working.
It's true.
and really, it teaches you a lot.
It gives you a good
know?
excuse
Has
to.
it taken away? It's
Exactly.
taken away the fun, though, right, of the game.
No,
or you're always
actually,
studying.
no,
it.
No, he
No, because he
says
never
he's
ends up
studying.
writing down what
He
he
says he's studying.
You're like, I remember how it is.
I remember. I just want to kill a bunch of fuckers.
And then
go.
Karim is like, so where are your notes? He's like, it's in my head. It's in my head.
No, it actually does teach you a lot
Yeah.
in terms of like the big guy, the big guys. They really have very subliminal, like not in your face. The way they make
A
the money,
methodology
the way they
to it.
monetize, the way they hook you in is very passive. Whereas if you look at it now I'm addicted to that game.
So like, even though your background wasn't gaming, I'm sure you've played a few games before, and now that you've been working in this field, you look at games differently, totally differently than I used
yes,
to.
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I think any person, even an artist or a hotelier or anyone that's in a specific industry, that as average consumers we go and we don't really notice the details. You start looking at things much differently. You know, for us, when we now look at a game, we don't look at it from a consumer's perspective.
Yeah.
We look at it from multiple different avenues and
Yeah, and
perspectives.
one of the main things in gaming is that it's actually not all fun and games. It's the business aspect of it, the partnership, the relations you have, the way the game is made from A to Z is like there is genius into that. It's not just a game, especially in our generation. The games that are being done in a way where it is on another scale. It is not like the Ataris of the past. But when you look at the time difference, like even Atari at the time, this was genius.
Revolutionary game,
Geniuses were behind this. So in terms of the gaming industry, it is fun and all that, but there's
a lot,
so many challenges.
And
let alone
What type of
competition.
games do you guys have?
And
In-house?
Robocom.
Yeah.
Well, we do have a couple of IPs. Our biggest and most recent one that we're currently launching in 2 weeks actually is Transformers.
Yeah, you told us about that.
For
one.
Hasbro's Transformers. It's a big IP. Also, with all humility saying it, that we're just very proud of it. We are the first Middle Eastern company to acquire such a major IP, you know, because Transformers is considered one of the top 5. Like when you say, for example, Batman, Superman,
It's a huge franchise.
X-Men. Yeah, Transformers is in the top 5. They have a huge fan base internationally.
It should have gone to like a Universal or a Warner Brothers. So the fact that you guys nabbed it, man.
Oh,
that's some
definitely,
Arab hustle
definitely.
right there.
And it also opened the door for us for Disney, for example. We acquired Disney's Tron.
Nice.
Discovery.
Oh, you got Tron?
You got
Yeah, we
Tron.
got
Wow.
Which is so
Nice.
with VR and like,
Exactly.
you've seen the movies. So
Back in the days of the
Literally
arcade.
get
We're gonna
Yeah.
live Tron.
which is why we
was
specifically
dope, yeah.
You're the ones who might be able to make Tron become a
Oh
reality.
yeah. And that was, by the way, it's vision plays a big role in this. Not just from the business perspective, from the gamers,
Yeah.
from the gamers' eyes, having a visionary. For example, are you guys familiar with God of War, The Witcher?
Of course.
These were very small studios up until they became pioneers as gaming studios. Like you have CD Projekt Red, which made The Witcher and now is making Cyberpunk 2077.
Big games.
It was bought by Warner Brothers for over $3 billion. So it ended up buying a share in CD Projekt Red because of the success of The Witcher. And did you guys also see the Netflix series?
Yes. I didn't really like it, to be
Really?
honest. Yeah.
I did.
I did like
I
it.
found it boring.
It's a bit boring.
Yeah.
It's a bit
You have to
boring.
be a fan to
But
really
I
appreciate
played
it.
the game. I played the game.
Yeah.
That's why I found it a bit boring.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Have
it
you
was-
read the book? Or?
No, I haven't read the book.
Okay.
He's not that nerdy. He hasn't gone full virgin. Like he's nearly there.
Something though, like I want to ask you guys, because especially you guys are in the industry, something that I read about and I've witnessed a lot is that from a consumer perspective in the Middle East, there's a very big demand for games. Like gamers have been in abundance. So many
You
people
mean
like to
like
play.
purchasing
Yeah,
power?
purchasing game and
Yeah.
people just playing games or into
Yeah.
games. But you just feel in the Middle East like it lacks behind when it comes to innovation, when it comes to like money invested from more of an industry perspective.
Oh, definitely.
And like I read something that the Middle East accounts for like 25% of the revenue that enters the gaming market.
In as a whole?
Yeah.
No,
and
it wouldn't be that much.
Something around that.
Yeah, no, you
figure.
have the Asian market,
Yeah.
humongous. Europe is considered one market, of course.
But why do you think like there isn't like people aren't investing, for instance, like creating esports academies in the Middle
There's
East?
a lot of reasons. There's infrastructure is one. Why don't we have the best football club? And like, for example, our football clubs cannot compete with Chelsea, Manchester United, Bayern Munich. They cannot.
Yes, they can.
They can
You
all
have
the
to
way.
believe.
What is it? Nijmeh?
Good try.
So we would like to be there, and it goes back to fundamental principle, ecosystem. You know, at a young age, are you being taught about this ecosystem? Are you being are the people around you supporting you to go start? For example,
Is it even accepted? Yeah.
Yeah, it
like-
goes back to
exactly,
acceptance.
true.
Yeah.
ecosystem is one. Statistics is two. We don't have the proper statistics. So just the Arab world in general, finding info is not always the easiest thing, you know. Like if I wanted statistics on, for example, cancer related to smoking in France, I would probably have like one of the big five that already did a secondary research paper on a subject like this, and they would all be verified, and you know, the government would be involved or government bodies. But when it comes to statistics in the gaming world, which is already niche in the Arab market, and to verify those statistics, you don't have them. So when you don't have the proper statistics, the big companies are not going to be as eager to enter the market without blindly, you know, because they have corporate rules. They need to know what's happening. But what's progressing, for example, you have Tencent, Riot Games, these big gaming companies now open in Dubai, which is good for the ecosystem.
Are they Middle Eastern companies?
No,
they're
Chinese.
international.
Tencent is Chinese, I think.
Yeah, which owns Epic Game, which owns Fortnite. You
Alright,
know,
alright.
Riot Games owns League of Legends.
LOL.
Yeah, so yeah,
One of the biggest games.
definitely.
It's definitely emerging. It's definitely getting bigger, more present.
Oh, definitely. And that's why I'm saying there's and where are they all based in Dubai or the Emirates? Yeah.
Was that maybe a challenge for you guys early on because the industry wasn't that big in order to sign deals with major corporations?
Riding the wave. riding the wave.
Like,
That's cool.
in the early stages of like after like when you guys first formed, was it tough for you guys?
You mean as just in acquiring IPs?
Yeah, back like when you guys first formed, because the industry
Well,
wasn't
let
really
me tell
big
you
yet.
the difference, and this was our specialty as a company, and this was the reason why we were given this chance or opportunity. First of all, we're very progressive, ambitious as a company, and we're very courageous. You know, we keep pushing forward. We dare to take the deals that no one thinks that they can handle. So, when Transformers came along, how were they convinced as a company to give us the IP? So, for example, you have Activision that did a PS game, PlayStation game with Transformers. It took the IP, it released it on PlayStation. It was pretty successful, but it didn't, it wasn't The Witcher, it wasn't God of War. They had such a major IP. They tried so many things, but I think the gamer, the consumer gets to a point where give me something new. So no one, we all know Transformers. We've all watched the movie or had a toy when we were young. I'm sure when you were young or when I was young, we had a fantasy of us being as the Transformers and feeling that transformation of being in a car and then being in a robot.
Yes.
Through our simulator, we were the only company that was able to give you that immersive experience. You want to be in a car and then you want to transform and you want to feel that robotic feeling. It's an actual simulator, So when we explained it that way and we showed them that we had vision, we were courageously evolving the franchise, and we had that passion because they really care about the IP. So if you tell them today, we're gonna cruise, we're gonna shoot a little bit, it's Space Invaders, it's whatever. It makes maybe a little bit of business sense now that you're following, a certain methodology, like repeatability and whatnot. But where's the evolution? Because we're a Middle Eastern company, we're a Lebanese-based company. Why are they going to give us a chance? You have to wow them. And when we walked in and we showed them that we are going to give you the never before chance or never been done before opportunity to be inside Bumblebee or Optimus Prime and then transform, and then just and we have a 360 simulation, so you feel all the flips and turns and transformation. And then when you're actually the character, you start destroying Decepticons. They were just blown away. And they're like, you know what? Go for it. And we were even shocked. We're like, wait, do we have the IP? Like, is it that easy in a sense? Like, is that all it took? Just to...
In a way, to answer your question another way, we are very aware of where the market is. And we're trying to take advantage of that fact. We're trying to take advantage of that fact by us imposing things on the market, just like the Transformers IP that we got, where they were not even like they're going into fashion, they're going into so many different IP, if you want, outlets, but never they thought they can go into the VR market. This is why they also a big part why we won the Hasbro Game Changers Award. They were so basically impressed with
so
what
we won an award
offer
before actually releasing the product.
Exactly.
Shows
They didn't
you their
care about the product.
enthusiasm.
They just looked at the potential of it and they liked
We're
it.
sold.
Yeah.
Same thing with the esports academy that we're doing in Abu Dhabi. The esports academy, there is no academy today in the market, and we see the huge potential. Let me tell you something
Come
about...
to think of it, we are making the market.
You
There
guys
you
are taking
go.
advantage
Yeah,
of an
yeah.
unsaturated market.
Those are two
Unsaturated,
things that
and
have
we're
never been
trying
done before in the
to
region.
pioneer and pave the way, right? What's really, really interesting about esports, guys, if you compare it to other sports. So in football, for example, you have the team owners, right?
Yeah.
You have the leagues, right? You have the
Financial power?
the
players.
manufacturers,
Okay,
Nike, Puma,
Yeah, yeah.
all these. You have
TV
the broadcasters,
distributors, broadcasters,
ESPN,
yeah.
beIN Sports. You have they're all different entities, right? You even have the teams. You have the players. You have the referees.
And all these
what's
entities
it
have to coexist.
There's many variables.
They coexist.
And that's what an ecosystem is, and that's what we were referring to. And why aren't we as advanced in football as the rest of the world?
But in esports, if you have one game, you are all these pillars.
Combined.
You are all these pillars combined. So can you imagine the potential of this? Because when we're doing our game, we're streaming our game. Not like you don't have.
You don't depend on other factors.
Everything is in-house.
The referees.
You
if-
do depend
Or-
on other bodies. Like for example, if you want to Twitch and you want to reach an audience, you would go.
But it's-
if you want to stream and you want to reach an audience, you would go with Twitch.
Yeah.
Like you can make your
But
own.
it's not as
streaming.
complex as football, as you were saying. I think.
Yeah, because-
you have more influence.
Exactly.
Less maybe moving parts.
Yeah.
Much
Definitely.
more power.
So
Much more power.
if you think about it, the sponsors are there. You know, same as football. The broadcasting is there, same as football. But it's just the regulations of it is much different than your NBA or your FIFA. Today, I don't need a broadcasting license or an exclusivity deal for the region with BN Sports to host a game.
But you will. You think it might head to that?
Well, by default, like Transformers, for example. So if we're streaming on Twitch, we're already licensees. But don't think of it that way. Think of the streaming now, Fortnite, for example, or Call of Duty.
Where do they watch? They watch it on Twitch,
On
not
Twitch.
on ESPN
Yeah.
or.
Or YouTube.
digital.
Or-
on,
Yeah,
That's-
YouTube.
when
It
you're a
used to be
gamer,
on
you're
YouTube.
more likely
Definitely.
to go into the digital platforms, which is Twitch.
Rather than the corporation.
Rather than, so we eventually know we don't need to get into these incumbents who are in broadcasting because there's a whole new
The publisher
Wave,
has a
Exactly.
basically the publisher has a lot more leverage than any other sport. You know, the publisher somehow creates his own rules because everything revolves around the publisher. He makes the rules. Whereas the NBA, if you're the LA Clippers or the New York Knicks or Brooklyn Nets, whatever, you have to go by the rules of the
Yeah,
NBA,
of the league.
right? And
Yeah.
and you can get fined if X, Y, Z does
if
that.
you break certain things.
In gaming, it's a lot more free. Yeah, I'm not saying they don't exist, but it's a lot more free.
It's a
Because it's
different.
new, it's untapped, but I'm sure they will find a way to regulate.
You think so?
To a certain
In a regulating,
degree, to a
yeah.
certain
There's
extent,
always
yeah.
there's
Regulating in what sense?
Oh, I was saying money. I was trying to. I wasn't like no.
He didn't think
You got
something
the cash,
else.
buddy?
He thought about something
He thought
else.
about something
He thought
else.
about something
What
else.
do you mean by regulating? What we mean by regulating is, for example, in the NBA, I don't know, the 3-point line is I don't know how many meters away.
Yeah. If
And
you touch
our-
somebody, it's
yeah,
a foul. If you do
exactly.
this,
Yeah, like in that sense, I guess it kind of depends on the rules of the game because when you play a game, you have to abide
Exactly.
by the rules of the game.
Where are who holds that power? The
the
publisher.
creators of the
The
Exactly.
NBA, the National
yeah.
Basketball Association.
There will always be the regulatory bodies when it comes to people. But when it's on a everything digital, basically the publisher holds all that power.
He can more set the rules, you know, than anyone else. Yeah.
People now listening or watching this would think like, wow, these guys are so technical and and they are very ambitious, extremely ambitious. Probably two of the most ambitious people I know. We've spoken about the idea of status and titles, and you know we've congratulated you before as well because you guys made Forbes 30 under 30.
Thank you.
And
Yeah.
Toufic, you said something that was actually, in a way, very profound. Is when you guys made it, it was always a dream of yours, right, to make Forbes 30 under 30.
I think any entrepreneur,
Of
you
course.
know,
Yeah.
that's like the title you have in your head,
it is
the Nobel
it is
Prize,
the
or,
status
yeah.
thing and everything. But you said like you got caught up on social media checking because you posted.
So yeah, I'm not really active on social media. When we got this Forbes 30 under 30, I decided to post it online, and so I caught myself looking at how many likes I had, what the whole, how many comments, who liked, who did not like, who looked at it, who congratulated me, who did not, and I felt I did not like this relationship with my phone on social media. I felt like it was artificial. I did not really, and basically my post online was I have a private account, and it's actually only my friends, and still I did not feel like this is something that is just healthy for the soul in a way. And even the title of Forbes, I think we both looked at it as much more of a challenge and like looking forward how we're gonna do things. It's a very nice, obviously, recognition that they chose us for the year, but still it is like, all right, so we made it on Forbes, now we have to act like it, you know. And so it was a very interesting experience to get there.
Did people start to see you guys as dollar signs because no, really, there might be some people who don't understand it, and you might get a lot of missed calls and
suppliers
texts
became a lot more expensive for some reason.
Okay. But what about like in social circles?
Yeah.
Was it like okay, I
Definitely.
didn't know what they were doing before, and I still don't really know. But now that they've made Forbes 30 on the 30, I want them as friends.
Yeah,
Because that happens quite a lot.
I think it not just in Lebanon, it'll happen anywhere
Globally,
in
of
the world.
course. Yeah,
Anywhere in the world. We never chased the title. You know, the title. Of course, we had submitted to be part of the 30 under 30, which was the submittal process, but it wasn't for us. It was like if we don't make the Forbes, blah 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 blah. Even any title, even when we won the Game Changers Award with Hasbro, and even when we opened the largest VR theme park, or we're partners with the largest VR theme park in the world, a couple years ago, which was our very first accomplishment. It was never we're doing this because of that. You know, it was just like, is our drive, is our ambition leading us this way? Then this is how it's going to be. And for us, the only difference was we saw how shallow a lot of people would be. You're not going to verify my success or my contribution to society unless I won the Forbes. What if I didn't win the Forbes 30? What if I never won any? But I was doing this. I was the same hustle, you know, the same positive attitude.
And even the outcome of your company was the same, but didn't have that title of Forbes 30
Exactly.
under 30.
And this is where the human nature comes into place. Like, if you didn't win a Champions League final, are you the
Or you're
best
still
team?
not a great, yeah.
And it's society's way of just
Labeling,
verifying
putting
our
labels.
success. But internally, it doesn't really mean anything. It's just, it's a checklist. Okay, done.
shows
What's
that
next?
If anything, it lit a fire under our asses that we have to work even harder.
Which is the healthy, I think the healthy way of dealing with it.
If anything.
It shows that you guys are on the right path. It
No,
shows
because you
that
don't. You're not letting people get into your heads, and because it's very easy, by the way, to be influenced here in societies. I'm not only talking about Lebanon, just from a global scale. What people are saying to you and what people are saying behind your back that you hear, it influences the way you speak and the way you act and the way you think and the way you approach your life.
Especially in this age where social media is so relevant. And you were talking about right now when you posted the picture on social media, and then you always feel like,
That's
oh,
great.
I
Yeah.
felt sorry for the people that live there,
Yeah.
the influencers.
Yeah.
I felt like it was so unnatural. I don't know. I just did not.
But then again,
like that.
like if we did not post it online, no one would have knew.
nobody.
Like no one went on Forbes 30. Oh,
Number
I know
30,
these
yeah.
people. It was because we posted it and our circle knew, and therefore word of mouth spread, and it became, you know, a topic of discussion in Lebanon between our friends.
You
and
guys have watched The Social Dilemma, right?
yeah,
Yes,
of course.
Spoken about
yes,
that.
yes.
It kind of
Look at how happy he is with his
yeah. He's like, well, I've seen that shit.
Exactly.
No, it's true
These
because it scared the living shit out of me. I didn't even realize. I started to check how much like phone consumption and screen time I have. Like 8 hours a day, and that's on phone and then laptop.
And think about how much that increased ever since you started the podcast. Because me and you
Of
were type
course.
of people. Me and Ryan were never the ones who used social media. Very similar to you.
Dude, we are
like,
dinosaurs, you know what I mean? Like,
we were learning.
But ironically, it makes you guys genuine, and it's the reason we came here.
similar
Yeah.
to what happened with you guys,
Exactly.
except way less successful.
even
You
now,
guys are still in the very beginning. We
You're gonna
support
get there, guys.
even
Honestly.
even now, like we're still learning stuff on Instagram. Like me and Ryan, oh wait, you can do this. You can't do this. Oh,
Dude, we
yo,
don't even
Tariq,
know
how
how
do
to
You
you-
can promote
We don't even know how
yourself.
to do polls. I swear, people give us shit for the polls we do.
Dude,
They're
you
like,
could change. How do you change the font? How do you do the color? Like basic stuff. Because
we're not those. Yeah, we're not those guys.
Because I felt, as you said, like once you use it a lot, especially if your business is not based off it, you become hooked to something that's superficial. Like what meaning?
Yeah,
like,
what
if,
worth?
If you post a picture and it gets 2,000 likes or 100 likes or 10 likes, what does that affect on your everyday life? If
It's your perception of the likes, and this
Yeah.
is where the social dilemma really comes into
Comes in,
play.
yeah.
The metric,
The
you know,
metric.
it's am I not successful if I don't have 100,000 likes, or am I successful? And it goes back to this. Forbes, for example, Instagram is just becoming another tool or another platform for success. So if you're Instagram popular, it's just like if you go back to 30, 40 years ago, you're the what do you call it, prom king, prom queen?
Yeah, prom king,
It's the same. It's the same concept. Bullying happened way back when, and now it's happening online.
Yeah,
It's just a lot
cyberbullying.
more magnified, of course. It's a lot more dangerous to the mind, but it always existed.
yeah, you can't run away.
You
from
need
it.
to pick and choose. You know, you need to say, am I, for example, like Instagram is a good tool for you guys because you guys are a podcast. So you need you need to be familiar with Instagram just because it's a lot easier and cheaper to get to your audience, you know?
Having Instagram now for promoting something like our podcast is way more beneficial than if you want to do our podcast like 10 years ago or 15 years ago, because it helps spread the word and the information at a way quicker rate to a much bigger crowd.
100%.
But then that makes us even more attached to it. Like
Yeah.
that makes us even more dependent
on a business scale.
That's not a bad
business.
thing when
Yeah.
it comes to the business side, like you were saying. It's not a bad look. Like at the end of the day, technology is something good. It's just the humans turn it into something that isn't.
Classic humans.
Yeah.
Fucking shit up.
Classic
like-
human move.
with you guys though.
Such a dick move, humanity. Such a dick move.
Like with you guys though, because you guys are venturing into the virtual world, and I'm even like I sometimes even think about, especially now with Corona, something like a good example would be like instead of them doing Zoom calls, you could have like virtual conference meetings. So like you don't even have to go to work anymore because you could do them. You put a headset on and you
Okay.
could have a virtual office.
In
And
VR, you mean?
in VR, I'm giving an example, but in general, the world is gonna start heading towards that trajectory, which means it's gonna intensify
Social interaction.
it'll lessen social interaction between human beings. And is that something that you guys like, even though you're working in this field? Are you guys knowledgeable
I
about
want to
that?
give you a nice answer. So, a couple of months ago, it was one of our team members' birthdays, right? So, a couple of days passed, and I was like, "How was your birthday?" He was like, "Amazing. I went clubbing." I'm like, "What do you mean clubbing? It's Corona. Everything's closed." He's like, "No, in VR." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Yeah, me and the guys, our team members, went clubbing in VR. We played bowling. We had a blast." I said, "What are you talking about, bro? How do you do bowling in VR?" You know, and he told me the process, and he was so happy telling it to me that I realized that was if you tell it to me, I'll be like, "No way, man! I just invite my friends over to my house, you know, and we just have a small party or a small gathering." But I would be technically breaking the rules of social distancing and whatnot, and not abiding by the regulations that the government put. And that's my own way of thinking. But there's a lot of people that want to live in, they need to be in a way secure or stable, and they would like alternatives. So this was a very good alternative for him to have his birthday, and the guy was so happy that he used the tool for a good way. Because he couldn't see his friends, you know, he said, "Let's go and have a party in VR." And it was very authentic. They had a good time. They had a cake and they played bowling, and all of this was done in
But
VR.
it scares the shit out of me.
Yeah.
It's very scary,
From a
man.
human connection point of view, and you guys would be, perfectly positioned to answer this because you guys have a VR company. Like, relationships are going to diminish because we were talking about this the other day. Sex dolls. I mean, if you're a 16-year-old kid and there's a super advanced AI sex doll,
And you're insecure as fuck.
and you're not even insecure. We're all insecure.
No,
at
but like
15,
when you're
16,
16, there's some
you are insecure.
16-year-olds. There's certain
We all
16-year-olds
were.
that are
We all were. We all
that
were.
have less confidence.
Of
than
course, but
others.
we all were. I mean, and you're trying to get out and get laid and go to a club and everything. That's not going to happen anymore because I can just buy a sex doll.
Those are the negative aspects of this, but you cannot run away from where where all this is headed.
Yeah.
Today, humanity is on this earth to do two things: reproduce and innovate. We are either here to reproduce, or we're here to leave the world a better place. And that's why you have roads, that's why we have cars, that's why we have buildings, that's why we have technology today. And in this capitalistic, competitive market we are in, a materialistic market we are in, where you always want the newest phone, the newest piece of tech, there's only one trajectory this is going. We are going to there's going to be eventually, it's already happened, this is the first generation of it, there's going to be a marriage between biology and technology. We are going eventually to become one. Today, it is not as evident because the bandwidth and the data, the data rate you're receiving from your phone is still so low that you don't notice it. But once this keeps going and this becomes here with Elon Musk's
Neuralink, yeah.
this is the third generation of us becoming basically cyborgs. Today it's the phone. The next disruptor is going to be AR, where everything is going to be wearable, and you're going to have basically you're just increasing the data rate of information. For example, now we are talking at humans usually communicate at 100 bits per second. Computers communicate at 100 terabytes per second. How much more efficient is that? And today you have, like, biologically, you have your cortex, right, in your brain, and you have your limbic system. The cortex is basically always serving the limbic system, which is your emotions, your memory, the cortex being your awareness, your consciousness. Today, what we have done with this, we have added a third layer where, for example, you have a master's in quantitative finance. Yeah. Okay. So me and you do this quantitative financial final exam. The difference between me and you, I have a laptop. Mm-hmm. Who you think will outscore who?
You.
I will outscore.
You have all the answers already.
I have the internet at my fingertips.
Yeah.
And this is where once we marry this, and that's a good thing, because basically if you can't beat them, join them, because AI is a genie that still hasn't gotten out the bottle, and it's going to I don't know how sentient it would become, but we as humans, and this is very hard for us today to imagine this, we as humans are going to have this marriage. We already do. We're the first generation who already have smart and became smarter because of our phones. Hence, our name, the robot community, Robocom. Hence, this is why basically Robocom is what it's doing today in terms of our vision. We've already told you this. We want to basically eventually be the Ready Player One of the world. We want to create this, and we are already making visible steps towards it. That's why we have our esports facility, because eventually we want esports to go into VR. So right now we're doing this whole academy by serving what people want now, which is still on 2D screens. But eventually we know the whole competitive side is going into virtual, where we are today, and that's why we're doing the whole academy in Abu Dhabi. And basically, it goes full circle. This is how deep we looked into what we're trying to do, and it's a robot community.
Anna, I don't want to sound like an anti-tech dinosaur, but tech makes your life 1,000 times better, and it is going to continue to advance our lives. I'm just a bit worried, and I don't know if regulation can play a role from the societal point of view. You know, we are. Okay, because we always talk about adaptation. We are the first humans who are going to start to adapt with tech. And in 100 years' time, we're going to be better suited. Our eyes are going to be better suited to dealing with screens and all the above. I'm saying because I know you both, you're old souls. You like to go out, you like to party, you have to have a social life. How do you regulate that? Can you regulate that? Is there a way to have the best of both worlds?
It goes back to choice, simply. And that's why I was giving you the story.
So we're fucked, essentially.
That's why I was essentially giving you the story of the party in VR. You know, you make your choice. We made our choice not to be proactive in social media or any other forms of technology because we are aware that we're not utilizing it in ways that are good for us. For example, Tinder. I'm sure everyone here has used Tinder.
No,
correct?
what's that?
Come on, what's a Tinder?
I've been dating for 4 years now. So
every time I see a girl at the bar, I go talk to her, and I'm very confident, you know, because we all, as males growing up, you know, we have this. When you're 14, 15, 16, you're gonna have this problem, you know, like the first time you need to speak to a girl. How you approach her, right? For example, I'm going to give you two scenarios that how VR can be good and how VR can be bad. If you were in the 70s and you wanted the equivalent of porn or view porn or whatever, any digital form of porn, you would go under your father's mattress or whatever, and you would find a Playboy or a Hustler's cover, right?
The old days, yeah.
the good old days. The simple form of it's a physical magazine. Now it's much more accessible to us. So for example, let's say you're 14 years old and you have problem speaking to women and you want to really break that and you just want to make it more, easy flowing for you to go talk to a woman at a club or at a restaurant or a cafe. You might use this VR headset to have like a simulation of how it would be to talk to a woman. Very simple, right? And then use that simulation, like you trained yourself to go talk and then you actually go to a real place and pick up a woman, right? Or there can be another way, which you can use the VR for pornography and have a blow-up doll, as you're saying, and not even forget the thing of even going out and meeting a woman.
Do we just need to teach ourselves?
What's the worst thing you can do to a person in prison today?
Rape or kill them.
No, it's put them in solitary confinement. In a prison full of
then
murderers.
Kill them.
Yeah, but like what I'm trying to say is human interaction is so human that I don't think it will diminish. Now it has diminished because you choose it to be diminished. But no, for us, we don't have this whole social media side. For me, I have human interactions every day.
You've made the choice, yeah.
I've made the choice. Just like we will always have that choice.
But then again, we are middle generations. So are you guys. We're very similar ages. And we saw the world without technology and we saw the world with technology. Now I know what you guys are saying and I know where the fear comes into place. It's forget us. Think about the baby that's being born today.
Not even the baby.
Yeah,
like
your cousins do it.
My younger brother and his friends are like 5-6 years younger than me. Like I already see it with them. When they play PlayStation 4 now, you could squad up with the parties and you put up the headset. There's no need for them to go to each other's houses. Like when they were 15 up until they were 18, they didn't go out anymore because they could spend the whole night playing and talking to each other simultaneously, back and forth. So my problem, or not my problem, my fear when it comes to these things and not just VR, but technology in general playing bigger roles in our lives, is that human beings by nature were lazy people. We always want things that make our life simpler. And I'm afraid that VR technology in general might make many aspects of our lives way simpler. He gave the example about the sex dolls. And there's so many different examples you can get into, which I won't get into now. But human beings might just be like, okay, fuck, I just don't feel like doing this, and this is way easier.
Right, but if you choose to to fall in love with a robot in a virtual world, that's on you.
But
you know what I mean?
But that's easy for us to say because we weren't raised like that. But for a 10-year-old or a 5-year-old, that still have
the external factors influencing
like
without them realizing.
Did you guys watch Her?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Yeah. Like my
what do you think of the movie?
I haven't seen Her.
Oh, you haven't seen Her? What do you think of the movie?
I think it is very plausible that it will happen. I'm genuinely believe that.
For example, if I were to give you my critique in the movie, do you know why it's so realistic? For one simple reason, they used Scarlett Johansson's voice, and we were already pre-programmed. Like, because we grew up watching Scarlett. It was maybe the crush for our generation, and we had a lot of movies where she was the main star. So the fact that they lent her voice to this robotic experience made it such a human interaction. And this is where the social dilemma comes into play. There's programs designed to manipulate you into thinking this is better than a human interactivity. Now this is where awareness comes into place. For example, when you were young, remember when smoking cigarettes or alcohol or driving cars, and then our parents would tell us, and you can't do this or you can't do that, and they would share their knowledge with us. So Toufic was saying, as humans, we innovate and we reproduce. If I may add to it, not just innovate, reproduce, but also send our message. We're here on this world to send a message, to give our message to the world. What do we leave behind? For example, I'm sure a couple of things your grandfather used to say when you were young, and his grandfather used to tell him these things and stuff. And even books, like when you want to learn about philosophy or you go to Darwinism or Socrates or we always have a reference. So all we need to do, I think, to regulate this use of technology is have a reference. Tell them that this is wrong. This will lead to this. If we didn't watch The Social Dilemma, none of us would have been convinced that you guys are manipulating us to do this and that and that. And it's the same thing.
I'll give you a good example about like the detriment of technology. And all of us have experienced this because we're part of that. So when I talk about how it makes our life simpler, time punctuality now for our generation, let's say
doesn't exist.
Exactly. Like we say, okay, let's do Friday afternoon, we're meeting up over here, and then we're going to go out to a bar to a group of 20 people, and we say we're going to meet up at 3. how many people actually show up at 3? And what
In
happens-
Lebanon?
In general, even
In
around the
Lebanon,
world.
Without
much different.
technology.
But even around the world, like nobody would like, and if that's fine, you know why? Because where are you? How long do you need and stuff? I remember when I was younger, I asked my dad, how the fuck did you guys used to be able to create a plan and like organize a plan of 20 people? He's like, people were punctual.
They
we
were.
would say we're gonna meet up at my house at 10, and then we're gonna go to the cinema, or then we're gonna go to the
Because
restaurant.
it was one phone call and
One
that's
folk,
it.
and then
Yeah.
people had to show up. And if nobody showed up within 5 minutes, fuck them. We just go. And we've all experienced that. And that's like just one small thing that's been detrimental to us.
But I like what you said about raising awareness, because there's always going to be certain vices in your life. Like people always say, raise awareness for kids with alcohol and cigarettes and everything. I'll ignore cigarettes. But alcohol, for instance, in small doses, and if it's well maintained and well balanced, alcohol is fine. A glass of red wine here is there, a glass of... So you're saying do that, apply that with technology also. Use your phone, of
Use your
course, use
rationale.
the internet. These are amazing things that are creating jobs and businesses. But just...
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, really.
Thank you, Snoop Dogg. But yeah, so it's having that dialogue with future generations and telling them, look, this is the amazing side, but don't overdo it. But what I wanted to ask you guys is, you mentioned Ready Player One, and as much as I'm scared, I'm also fucking excited. Like, can we get to a world where...
And you see where you have those
Yeah.
two directions, you can fear it, but every one of us has
We spoke about the-
fantasized
of
about
course.
being a soldier.
We spoke about the negatives,
yeah.
but the positives are
Go-
insane as well. Like,
You
don't
see
get
that,
us wrong.
You saw that war scene at the end, everyone going up. That's fucking... I'd love to do that. Do you guys think we could actually get to that level of sophistication?
Bro, maybe in 10
Very-
years.
We'll get to
No, not
answer you
even
that
less.
in a few years.
But you need
Yeah.
someone...
by showing you.
Yeah, I'd love it.
Yeah. No, definitely. Now you have technological constraints. And basically that's the main thing today. It's the technological constraints. It's the feel. Another thing about the whole Ready Player One thing. You know, gamers are couch potato. So basically they don't want to lift a finger. Right? In Ready Player One, the whole concept is that you're actually running
Yeah.
and you're
active.
You're active. You're in a room, for example, and you're active.
And it shows you our philosophy with technology, because they made it that way. No one told them to put two buttons on it. They made people couch potatoes, because the way you play the game was to sit on a couch in front of a TV and only use your fingers. And this is why I'm saying, when you spread awareness, we were very against that methodology. We can put you in your chair and give you a VR
Yeah.
headset and be like, relax.
Just stuff.
We
And
got
raise
you.
your blood
Yeah.
pressure and your diabetes.
We got you, bro. But no, it was like, use your body, man. Running is healthy, you know, but using your limbs is healthy, you know, not just two fingers. Use your whole hand.
Question: is your machine? Can one buy it for personal use?
It's a
You
bit
got enough money,
expensive.
yeah. I'll even sell you two for a discounted price.
Joe, we're not making any money on this podcast, so maybe don't.
I'm not buying shit with these banks here. You'd have to be fucked.
Hey, it'd be a good
Yeah,
investment.
we'll take a check.
Instead of real estate, you invest in one of these machines.
Well, actually, if you take a check, yalla, we'll buy one now.
Yeah, I'll get on that, yeah.
That's another thing. But it's still super expensive to have them as a personal use, right?
So when you're talking about commercial simulators,
Yes.
yes, they are. Basically, we're not expecting to have these machines, to get these machines to your house. What we're expecting is for the technology to be proficient enough for it to be able to be in your house, like a haptic suit, for example, or just
can you
buy
play
the
baseball,
equipment.
for example? Can you play basketball in your house?
No.
But it's the same thing with VR. You can wear a haptic suit. You can wear a haptic suit in your house. You can get a mechanical treadmill. There's no restriction to that. Even you might have a couple extra bucks, and it might even get to a price point where it's very feasible and accessible. But if you want to play basketball,
You have to
go to
go.
a basketball court,
That's
and
where we're
that's where
adamant
the commercial simulation comes in.
on location based.
Yeah. Okay. Me. Yes. Technically, I'm still going to play basketball.
Yeah,
You're still going to
100%.
play basketball.
But see why our philosophy
You're marrying
is,
the two. You're
And
marrying the human side with the tech side. That's
100%.
what you were saying, which is I like that. I like
the
that
first
philosophy.
thing people told us when we went to VR, they're like, "You're so stupid. You're going into location-based entertainment. Like, you actually want a person to get off his couch and come to you to play a digital game that I can play
in
online."
a time where malls are decreasing, the average people aren't going to malls
Corona now,
anymore.
yeah.
now
Even before
Corona.
Corona, it's just like
Before,
Four years
yeah,
ago.
yeah, I know.
4 years ago.
And Toufic was just saying it. Gamers are couch potatoes, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
They like to sit on the couch.
How can
and
you guys
play with their
stimulate
fingers.
somebody to get up and actually go and
Exactly.
try it?
And it goes back to our topic of discussion in the beginning, our philosophy. If we were gamers, we would never have been courageous enough to make a location-based entertainment platform. No, never. I'm a gamer. I'm gonna leave my house, wear my stuff, drink a Gatorade
It goes
or a
against
Red Bull
yeah.
to get into the zone to play, and that was the fundamental principle behind it. Habibi, we're here to use it for good. Can you shoot a person in real life and get away with it? No, you can do it in VR.
In Lebanon, sorry, in Lebanon I can't do that. But okay, no, in other countries.
You're right. It wasn't a very good example.
Depends where though.
Depends where. Depends where. What you're doing is super fucking cool, and it's kind of revolutionary. And the fact that you have Lebanon on your backs and your headquarters is here, and you're always carrying, Lebanese flag wherever you go is amazing. So thank you so much for what you guys are doing.
It's our pleasure,
and
man.
we loved having you guys.
And you too, Yani. What you guys are doing is also, in your own way, super innovative in this region.
Definitely.
And we're really excited for you guys also.
Thanks. Thank you.
And just
Thanks, man.
one last thing about Lebanon. So obviously we're here and we're here to stay. And the thing is, what we're doing here is that we want to try to inspire people to stay here, because now at the end of the day, this is our home. And yes, we are all leaving, we're all incentivized to do so, but what is left of Lebanon is really important for us, for our kids, and
for shaping up the future.
Definitely. And we have so much talent here. People talk, and let's invest in agriculture, let's go into that. How about investing in people, since we're super cheap now? How about having our back
you just gotta
offices
play your cards.
here?
We don't identify ourselves as cheap, or we didn't take the reason to invest in Lebanon because it's cheaper. We were investing in Lebanon way before the crisis happened.
Yeah.
But identify the cards you have in your hand and play with the cards you have. Right now, it's cheaper for you to use your people as resources than to think about manufacturing corn and
it's
I don't
more
know
beneficial
what.
for the society around you. It's a win-win.
Even us, like when we did this podcast, one of the main things you want to do is help inspire people, especially in Lebanon, inspire people to go do not necessarily unconventional, but follow their passion. 100%. And I think having you guys on is a very great example about that, because you guys didn't have a tech background.
100%.
But you guys had drive, you guys had the goal, and you guys were hard workers, and you just worked like motherfuckers, and now you guys are seeing the results of that.
Of course, and just it's not result based, it's not success based, it's not financially based. It really was, since the very beginning, a journey of the human soul, and really to give back to our community. And just to stand to our word, I say this on camera now, if there's any talented individual that would like to be
100%.
Talented or not talented, we might have an opening. I don't want to be biased to anyone. If there's anyone that has a passion for gaming, that wants to learn even, or wants to be in this field, we are growing at a very good rate. We are employing, and we would like to give back to the community, and anyone's free to send their CV, and we'll take you on, man. We're very passionate about the community.
Where do I email my CV to? I'm done with these schmucks. I'm joining your team. Okay.
Let's do the VR version
exactly.
of the podcast.
Boys, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.